Hey everyone, thank you for joining our webinar, How to Prepare for Giving Season with Jotform Square. Today's presenters are going to be myself, Annabelle from Jotform. I work on the marketing team, and we also have a special co-host from Square named Victor. Victor, would you like to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Thanks, Annabelle. Hey, everyone. My name is Victor Wong, and I manage product partnerships over at Square. Super excited to be here, and I have the great fortune of working with the fantastic Jotform team.
Awesome. Thanks, Victor. So in today's webinar, we're going to be showing you an overview of Jotform and Square and how the tools can be beneficial for nonprofits. Besides that, we'll also demo how to build a donation form and how to integrate that form with Square. And then we'll close the webinar with a live Q&A. So with that said, we're going to shift gears, go off camera, and jump into our presentation. So you may be wondering why you should make the most of giving this season. So giving season is the most important quarter of the year for nonprofits, since this is when you'll receive most of your donations. According to Nonprofit Source, 30% of annual giving occurs in December, and 10% of annual giving occurs in the last 3 days of the year. So it's really important that you have a good workflow in place and really powerful tools like Jotform and Square so you can collect donor information and payments simultaneously. So Jotform is the preferred online form builder for nonprofits, and that's because we offer a really awesome discount, which is 50% off all of our plans. Besides that, nonprofits can use Jotform to collect information such as donor information, donations, volunteer registrations, employee evaluations, event information, and more. Jotform replaces paper, checks, and cash, and so you can keep all of your donations safe from getting lost or misplaced. It also makes following up with donors a breeze, and you can choose between a half dozen email marketing integrations to easily get in touch now or later with donors. And we have some integrations like Constant Contact or MailChimp and Square, obviously, as well. Jotform is also incredibly easy to use. It requires zero technical skills, so anybody on your team can build a form with ease. And if you don't want to build a form, you can choose from one of our many nonprofit-specific templates. So that's kind of a high-level overview of Jotform. I'm now going to pass the mic over to Victor to talk about Square.
Great. Thanks, Annabelle. Now, nonprofits everywhere have collected millions of donations with Square. And there are a couple of key reasons why we're the preferred payment gateway for nonprofits. The first is you can take payments anytime and anywhere with Square, whether it's online with great partners like Jotform or in person with their sleek and affordable hardware. We're also serious about security. We provide comprehensive data security compliance coverage, so we are considered to be a PCI Level 1 compliant payment gateway. And we also offer end-to-end payments encryption. Third, we are a payments partner that's on your side. Square is the merchant of record, so our interests are aligned with yours. That's why we provide active fraud prevention and dispute management services at no additional cost. Fourth, we have fully transparent pricing. We have no long-term contracts and no hidden fees. So what that means is we don't have refund fees, setup fees, statement fees, authorization fees, or any other fees that are associated with payments. We also provide the same flat rate for all credit cards. What you see is what you get. And finally, we have fast deposits that come standard. We know cash flow is super important, so that's why we provide bank deposits within 1 to 2 business days. We also have an instant deposit option, and lastly, we have a new Square Card debit card. It's a physical debit card that allows you to have immediate access to funds. Our goal is really to give you the peace of mind on the payment side so that you can focus on what you do best. Now, we've teamed up with Jotform to offer nonprofits a powerful solution, which comes with 2 key benefits. The first is higher payment limits. As a special bonus, when you integrate your Jotform form with Square, you can take 10 times more donations than with any other payment processor on Jotform. The second is recurring donations. So you can take a one-time donation or invite your most loyal supporters to opt into a recurring donations plan.
All right, awesome, Victor. Thank you so much for that overview. Okay, everyone, so now we're going to jump into a demo of Jotform and Square and show you how to build a donation form, provide tips on how to optimize your forms, connect with Square, and then test out the full solution. So one moment while I share my screen. Okay, perfect. So this is the Square donation form that we have already pre-made. And this is just so that we can save some time and really talk about the meaty parts of this. So Firstly, when you're building a donation form, it's really important to ask the right questions. Nobody likes filling out forms, so we recommend keeping your questions as concise as possible. Some really key questions that you should include are, of course, a name and an email. And emails are really important for keeping in touch with your donors and cultivating that long-term relationship, because monthly donations are going to get you more money in the long term than just a single donation. Besides that, it's also really great to collect their phone numbers and their addresses. A lot of donors really appreciate that a phone call every now and then, especially if it's their birthday or some sort of like special event, so that they know that you care and that they're reminded of your nonprofit. Besides that, like other really important things to consider when building your form is customization. So if you see here, we have the welcome page. We have a special logo that goes with our nonprofit, Dolphins in Need. We also have customized the background image to show dolphins so that people can see exactly what it is they're donating to or the cause that they're donating to. And then you can also customize the CTA button. So as you can see here, we have start, which is the text that comes pre-made with your forms, but you can actually change that. So I'm going to change it right now and show you to donate. So just small fixes like this will really help people understand what your form means and will help them fill it out to completion. And another thing that really sets forms apart from other competitor forms is the special features and integrations that we offer. So Jotform offers Conditional Logic, which is super easy to access. You just click on the Settings tab in the middle, and then you have the conditions on the side. So basically with Conditional Logic, you can either show or hide certain fields depending on how somebody answers the question. So this is really great for creating a personable, customized form, and it really helps people kind of like get to the form completion faster than if they had to go through every single question. We also have a really great PDF editor. So this might come in handy if you were going to collect volunteer registrations and you wanted to get a PDF of all of your volunteers' information and have that stored somewhere in your Google Drive or what have you. And so you can also take advantage of that for free. And like I mentioned earlier, Jotform has over 100 different integrations, which can also be accessed through the Settings tab. And if you come to their integrations page, you can see that there's a number of different types like Slack, Google Drive. There's some CRMs, payment providers such as Square. So it's really a full suite of different types of integrations to choose from. So now we're going to come back, now that you know a little bit more about Jotform, we're going to come back and show you how to connect with a Square account. So again, I'm going to come back to the Settings tab here in the middle. I'm going to come down to Integrations. I am going to search for Square, which is right over here. Perfect. And now I'm going to connect with my Square account. Okay, great. And now I'm going to pass the mic over to Victor to kind of talk through what we do with this integration.
Okay, thanks, Annabelle. So after you've connected your Square account with Jotform, first thing you need to do is select your business location. This is the Square location to which funds from Jotform will deposit into. The next thing to do is to make sure that the currency in Jotform matches the currency of your Square account. So in this case, it would be the US dollar. Next, you can select payment type to select to sell subscriptions. That way you enable recurring payments. And once you hit continue, you'll be directed to create your first subscription. So head up to the button to create new subscription. Name your subscription type. So in this case, you can just name it donate. And then input price. So this is the donation amount. Now, a pro tip is to ask your donors for a higher donation amount than you expect. You can pre-fill a higher donation amount, and chances are you'll end up with a higher donation per person. Now you can select your subscription period. It can be monthly, every 2 months, every 3 months, every 6 months, yearly, or every 2 years. Let's stick with every month. And then you can also designate the number of payments that are part of this subscription. So for now, let's just default to no limit. Next, go to variable price, and I recommend toggling this to yes. So this allows the donor to input the donation amount they would like to give. Scroll down to save, and then you're all set. You have created your first subscription. Now X out of the payment settings and go back to your payment form to click the little gear on the side. So here you can put in question text to describe the call to action. So here it's donate, and you can add a little descriptor here to say subscribe to become a monthly donor. And then you're all set and ready to go, so you receive your first donations. Now, one thing I would add is that integrated payments that come from the Jotform and Square solution automatically show up in your Square dashboard. So if you receive payments from any other channels, all the reporting is streamlined in your Square dashboard.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Victor. So before we jump into the Q&A, I just want to quickly show you what the form will look like in its final version. So if you toggle the preview form tab over here, you'll be able to see the first welcome card, which has our logo on it. It has that awesome background image showing the cause that somebody's donating to. It has the title and a brief description about what it is they're donating to. And then we just simply click through. We have name, email, phone number, address, donate. So here, if I were to donate, I would press the subscribe button, and then I automatically have this $100 that pops up. And then if I wanted to change the amount, I'd be able to in this box right here. So I'm gonna keep it at 100 though. And then we'll hit next again, and we'll come to our credit card information card. And then once we finish that, we press submit, and then all of that payment goes directly into your Square dashboard. So that's it for our demo. We're going to go into our Q&A portion of the webinar. Okay, awesome. One moment while I just share my screen. Okay, perfect. So we're going to jump into the questions and answers portion of the webinar. So if you all have any questions, we ask that you please either type them into the chat tab or into the questions tab. So to kick it off, we have a question from Jackie, and this one's for Square. So Jackie asks, what are Square's fees?
Oh, hey, Jackie. Thanks for that question. So for Square fees, any payment that is submitted through Jotform, there would be one flat fee of 2.9% plus 30 cents per transaction. I would note that if your nonprofit processes more than $250,000 in credit card transactions each year, you may be eligible for lower custom rates. For that, I recommend you contact Square support to connect with the Square sales team.
Awesome. Thank you, Victor. It looks like we have a question from Sarah in the chat section, and she's asking, how easy is this to put on our website? David, would you mind answering this one for Sarah?
Sure. We have many different types of embed code readily available. So you build your form, and then to embed it to your own web page is a simple copy and paste of usually anywhere from one line of code for our basic JavaScript embed code to, a little bit longer embed code, but we generate that embed code for you. So any web page that's simple HTML format, you can copy and paste. And we also have various embed codes for different platforms like WordPress and Wix and that sort of thing.
Awesome. Thank you, David. Looks like we have a question from Gerald, and he asks, how will my payment be sent to Square? So Gerald, if your integration has been properly configured, you can check this out via live mode. Then once somebody submits your form, the payment will be sent automatically into your Square account, and then from there you'll be able to access the funds. Awesome. And then we have another question for Square. This one is from Liam. Victor, what makes Square better than PayPal or Stripe?
So a couple of reasons that I touched upon earlier. The first is what we describe as omnichannel payments capability. That essentially means you can easily take payments in person or online. We also have really high quality and affordable hardware. And lastly, we have free business management and reporting software via the Square point of sale app or dashboard. I do want to touch on Lorraine's question as well on how do the funds from Square get to you. So once the funds get deposited into your Square account, you would need to connect your Square account to your bank account. So that would allow sort of just a daily flow of whatever funds are in your Square account directly into your bank account. The other option is if you have a Square account, you are eligible for what's called a Square card, which is essentially a debit card that would allow you to immediately access any funds that are in your Square account.
Awesome. Thank you, Victor. We have a question here from Era who asks, would this be suitable for subscription only, or it can be used for a one-time donation? So yeah, of course, you can configure your payments however you decide to. We do offer one-time donations as well, but we do recommend, at least for me, I worked at a nonprofit before Jotform, and we always try to get people to donate monthly because then that will increase your donations over time and you'll get more money in the end, which is always good for nonprofits. But yeah, it's totally up to you and totally customizable. Awesome. So we have a question here from John that says, can Jotform be customized for seminar registrations? David, would you mind taking this one?
Sure. Jotform can be customized for just about anything you want. It doesn't necessarily have to be a nonprofit or anything like that. You could, if you wanted, essentially set up an entire store using Jotform with multiple products, multiple variations of those products, options, anything you can imagine. Seminar registrations, absolutely. If you want to collect payment for that seminar at the same time using Square or something else, absolutely.
Great. Thanks, David. We have a question from Emmanuel who's asking, what happens if a donor's card gets declined? That's a really good question. So if a donor's card gets declined, we recommend that you reach out to them and ask for a new one, and then you can simply go into your Square dashboard and update that information. And we have a question here from Jasmine. I saw something on Jotform about the first 100 Square payments being free. Can you please explain how this works? Victor, would you mind taking this one?
Sure, happy to. So as part of Square's partnership with Jotform, any payments taken through the Square integration on Jotform do not apply to Jotform's payment submission limits, only Jotform's form submission limits. So that means that for Jotform's free plan, which ordinarily limits the number of payment submissions to 10 per month, you could instead now accept up to 100 payments with Jotform and Square on Jotform's free plan for no additional charge. I would note that Square's transaction fees do still apply to these payments, but yeah, you can accept the first 100 payments on the Jotform and Square integration on their free plan for no additional cost.
Perfect, thank you. We have a question from Hudson asking, what is the cost for nonprofits? So this is a good time to talk about Jotform's nonprofit discount. So as Victor briefly touched on, we do have a free plan. There are some limitations to that free plan though. So we do recommend that nonprofits upgrade to either the bronze, silver, or gold that's available. If you do so, we do offer a 50% nonprofit discount, and it's available for all the plans. It comes in handy. All we ask is that you fill out a really simple application form, and then within 24 hours, we'll review it and then get back to you on whether or not it's approved. Awesome. So next question from Donna. Is there a limit to the number of questions Jotform allows? Wondering if we can use this for our membership. David, would you mind taking this one from Donna?
Sure. There's no hard limit, as in a set limit to the amount of questions you can add to a form. 100 if you'd like. The only real limitation is if at some point you add enough that the browser itself can't handle it, and this generally happens around somewhere like 1,000 plus fields with a lot of conditional statements. So for most regular usage, Jotform can handle just about anything you can throw at it.
Perfect. Thank you, David. And then we have a question here from John that's asking, does this nonprofit need to be a 501c3? David, can you please take this one?
We do need to be able to verify nonprofit status. Usually the easiest way to do so is having that 501c paperwork. But if there is an alternate way that we can get verifiable paperwork that does prove you're a nonprofit, we'll accept just about anything.
Perfect. Thank you. We have a question here from Darnell asking if it's possible to charge every 3 or 6 months instead of monthly. And the answer is yes, Darnell. So our users have the ability to change their subscription period to monthly, every 2 months, every 3 months, every 6 months, yearly, and every 2 years. So there's a lot of flexibility depending on how you prefer to collect your donations. Let's see, any other questions? Okay, give it a couple more seconds. If you guys have other questions, please ask us. Otherwise, we'll just continue to the thank you slide. Okay, it looks like we have a question from Linda. I don't see the IATS as an integration with Jotform. I've requested that as an option. How long does it take to integrate a new credit card processing option? David, would you mind taking this one?
To process with a new credit card integration, as in set up an integration with a new payment provider, we usually do feature requests based on overall demand for a feature. Things do take quite a bit of resources to set up, PCI compliant payment processing and that sort of thing from our end. And so unless we have a very large overall demand for a specific feature, especially something like a payment provider, we generally don't say that we'll add them all. But if there is a large request, overall for something, we generally do add it, but we can't add everything, unfortunately.
Thanks, David. And then we'll just take this last, we have 2 questions left, one from Anthony and one from Tracy. So Anthony is asking, does Square integrate with Jotform with the Jotform free account, or do you need the bronze? Yes, Anthony, you can integrate with integrate Square with Jotform's free account. And then we have a last question here from Tracy. Would this work for the big day of giving and give back nonprofit spring and fall fundraising days? Yeah, Tracy, it's totally up to you for however you want to use the integration. We just promoted it as being for giving season, but you can use it if you want it in the spring or the fall or whenever works best for you. Okay, so that's we're all out of time for today's webinar. So I'm going to jump over to the thank you slide and just want to thank everybody again for watching today. We hope you found it useful. And if you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out to Jotform support team at support@jotform.com. And I'm going to pass the mic over to Victor to give his closing remarks.
Great, thanks, Annabelle, and really appreciate you all being on this webinar. Super excited again to team up with Jotform to power this integration, and wishing you all the very best giving season.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good rest of your day. Bye.